Ciao my friends, welcome to my kitchen. This is where I teach you easy recipes for everyday cooking, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a homemade tomato soup. It's really simple. I know it sounds basic, but I think it's the perfect soup for the winter time. It's very warm and comforting. Plus, we're going to step it up a notch and add grilled cheese croutons to it. So I'd love to teach you how to make this. Pronto? Allora andiamo a cucinare. So to start, we have a large soup stock pot. And we're going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil to that. And while that's warming up, we're just going to cut up our onion. Have one large onion. To the onion, we want to add a couple cloves of garlic. We want to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. And we just want to give that a toss and let that saute for a couple minutes. All right, so now that our onions have been sauteing for a few minutes, we're going to add equal parts of carrots and celery, about a cup each. And we're just going to saute those for a few minutes. Now we're going to add a 28-ounce can of peeled whole tomatoes. And we just want to break those tomatoes up a little bit. Don't have to worry about it being perfect because we're going to put this in a blender and get it all nice and smooth. And so just to rinse my can out, I'm going to add about, I don't know, a cup or so of broth, and we're just going to add that. We're just going to let this cook for a little bit, let it cook down. I don't want to add all the broth right now. I just more or less want the flavors to cook and meld together before we actually blend it up. So that'll probably take about 15-20 minutes. But in the meantime, we're going to get our bread ready for our croutons. So you just want to get a nice sliced bread that you like. We want to add butter to both sides of the outside of our bread. Then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top of that butter. And we just want to press it into the butter. Make sure it's all in there. You don't want to lose any of this cheesy goodness. Then I'm just going to flip the two buttered sides together. And you could use whatever kind of cheese that you prefer, but I actually like Munster. And I get mine cut from the deli because I like nice thick slices. So I got it cut pretty thick. Okay, now it's hot. We're going to add it to the grill. So I'm going to add the one side that's buttered down and then add the buttered one on top. And we just want this on low because we want it to get nice and caramelized, and then we will flip it and get the other side golden brown. So our soup has been cooking for a little bit. We're now going to take it off the flame and we're going to put it into our blender. Okay, and we're just going to puree it. Because this is hot, we want to be careful. So you want to make sure you don't have anything blocking this, and just put a paper towel here in case it spurts. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a roux. So I have some butter. We're just adding here, just wait for it to melt. And we're going to add equal parts of flour, and I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. And just mix all that up. We just want to cook it until the flour cooks for a few minutes so it doesn't have that raw flour taste. Now we're going to add our soup back to our pot. So now at this point, I do need to add more broth to this to the soup. That's why I didn't add it all in at the beginning, because it wouldn't have all fit in here. Plus, it's a good excuse for me to rinse out my blender so I get all this good tomato sauce in here. All right, and now I'm going to add some more broth. And now the amount of broth you need to add will depend on how thin or thick you like your tomato soup. So anywhere from 2 to 4 cups. And now I'm also going to add about half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Once all this gets mixed in here, then you'll want to taste for salt. You want to make sure not to do too much salting in the beginning because the Parmesan cheese does have a lot of salt in it, and so it's better to taste it once you've got the Parmesan cheese in here. Oh, and I also want to add half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. All right, so now the soup is pretty much done. We just want to give it a few minutes just for that flour to thicken up our sauce a little bit. Our soup. So to finish our soup, what I like to do is drizzle a little bit of olive oil. I also have some basil that I pureed. I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of that on top of the soup. And then we're going to just add a couple of these grilled cheese croutons. And there it is, how to make easy tomato soup with the grilled cheese croutons. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so that you get more easy recipes for everyday cooking here. And as usual, the directions and ingredients are listed below. Until next time, ciao, ci vediamo dopo.